Hi, Virgo. Welcome to your reading for the week of January 13th to the 19th, or whenever you happen to come across this and it resonates, which it will not for every Virgo. This is for the collective, so it's going to be very general for some, although sometimes amazingly specific. I still haven't figured it out. What my guides gave me as I was anticipating doing your reading was you sitting in front of a stack of foolscap. You know, that lined paper with the 3-ring holes, the things that normally we would work on when we're kids in school for the 3-ring binders. And I see you with a stack of these papers, and you're so intent on looking at them and making sure everything is lined up that actually it's become messy. And even more than messy, it's almost like I can't even see the lines anymore. It's almost like they're blurry. So whichever group of Virgo people I'm reading for, it feels to me as though you've possibly had a tendency to become perhaps so over-organized that you have created a bit of an imbalance for yourself. Now, within the Ayurvedic system, as it's expressed through polarity therapy, which is my main modality, the two emotions that are regulated specifically by the earth field are fear and courage. And certain qualities of earth are organization, analytics, being stable. And I'll go with those specifically. The thing about them is when anything is out of balance, when anything is taken to an extreme, it creates imbalance in the whole system. So for somebody who is over-organized, what can happen is they can lose sight of the whole picture, and they can become so specific about the rules and the regulations that they have set up as a structure that they become inflexible, and they don't always see where they are losing the joy in their life and losing the ability to adapt in a way where at a certain point it would bring them an improved life. It's as though they believe that by being really meticulous, by planning, by organizing, that is going to bring them the greatest pleasure. But it's not really about pleasure. It's about security. So basically what it's saying is you can be over conscientious about creating things that are going to bring you security, not realizing that security is not necessarily the thing that's going to give you a good life. It's almost as though you haven't gone beyond that to say to yourself, well, what about my heart? What about my joy? Am I allowing myself to be creative in the ways that I would like to be creative? Or am I being so specific about what I need to do in terms of stabilizing my money that I don't ever allow myself the time to paint or explore astrology or do any of the things that other parts of you are asking you to do? Now, we know that an astrology chart is a mixture of energies. Therefore, which is one of the reasons why a general reading for the collective is not going to resonate with everybody. So the thing with Virgo is, the thing with anybody with a lot of earth in their chart is there can be a tendency to override the things that might seem frivolous. And it's also true, I see this a lot with Taurus, being a Taurus, that there can be a real joy in the sense of achievement of work and moving through things and organizing things. There's a certain quality of satisfaction and appreciation for the process of structuring, creating things. That being said, that in itself can take you out of balance with other things. So what are your other energies? What's your rising sign, your sun, your moon? Where are your planets placed in your chart? Where are you overactive? Where are you underactive? And I feel as though that's what you're being asked to check out. When I pull the cards here, I look at this, and as I look at all the various different cards that come up, I feel as though there is certainly, for a number of you, the tendency to feel as though You're not lovable, you're not acceptable unless you are disciplined, unless you're very, very productive, unless you're fulfilling whatever this role is that you have set yourself to take. And you're being asked to look at this and take on a new perspective. You're being asked to really say, okay, what can I let go of in order to have more liberation in my life? And am I allowed to have liberation? Or am I only lovable if I am giving to this person, giving to this person, giving to this person? Or can I love? Can I express my love to people just by being in my heart, by being fully and authentically who I am, beyond all of these rules, beyond all of this achievement, beyond all of this earning? Can I really let myself experience that side of me and not have to apologize for it? Virgo, I feel as though it really is time for you to take a chance to look at yourself. Yeah, to look at yourself and to say, what am I afraid of? What am I afraid of becoming? Or what am I afraid of? Certainty and doubt. Am I just afraid of the uncertainty? If I allow myself to consider being a little bit less anal retentive, if I allow but yes, you can be that way. It's wonderful to say, I have to be conscientious about keeping my books. That's great. But if it means that keeping your books must be done on a Sunday because it's always done on a Sunday, and it means you're not going to go to this great picnic with your friends when that could just as easily be done on a Monday, are you giving up the chance to go to a picnic? And if you are, why? What are you concerned about? I would ask you to look at where your resistance is. I'm going to read resistance for you because I think, for most of us, whenever we have the opportunity to move beyond our comfort zone, there's always resistance. And I'm going to read this because this is why. Just the right amount of resistance creates the friction or stimulation that provokes momentum for change and growth. Too much resistance can create so much drag that it brings things to a standstill. Resistance is a force of energy and deserves to be acknowledged and dealt with in some way, or it will continue to apply pressure and potentially cause damage to the existing structure. This could be the structure of a job, a relationship, a personality, your ego structure, or anything that has a system of operation with parameters and boundaries. And you also just pulled up, where is it? It was on the bottom of the deck. I put it somewhere. Boundaries or barriers. The thing about resistance is that they're behind the resistance, behind any kind of wall we come up with. There is always a freedom beyond it. It's very, very important. When we get to resistance, I look at it and I say, okay, we've reached an edge of our personality, and our personality is being called into question. What areas are we stuck on where we are not able to move into liberation? Where are we using discipline not as a way to support new growth, but to keep us locked into some other mental thing? You're really being asked to look at what you're creating with your mind. This is where you start. You start, my loves, by checking in with where you're stuck, with where you feel resistance to change that could potentially be opening for you. It's not saying give it all away, throw away all your structures. You have to honor the fact that you are in some kind of structure, that your personality has some kind of structure, and that especially if you're an earth sign, you really need to honor the fact that movement sometimes needs to be slow, because there is a tendency to go into fear and overwhelm if there's too much movement and too much change all at once. The problem with earth is that it can be just so comfortable to stay within the track you're in that unless something pushes you out of it, you don't move. You're being asked, look now at where you have found yourself in resistance. And if you're listening to this and resonating with this, chances are you are experiencing resistance somewhere in your life. What you're being told is, look at where the fear is. What are you not sure of? What are you afraid? What unknowns are you afraid of? Look at them honestly. See what that is. It might just be about how you see yourself and feeling as though you are going to have to make apologies for changing who you are. What they're saying is, it's your mind. Your mind is the thing that is going to allow you to change things. You need to question what your mind has been telling you all this time is the right and only way to go. Because we develop these systems of management as we move through life. Often they are coming from compensations or adaptations that we've made in order to survive through certain situations, because we have let fear has kind of been ruling our nervous system. But our mind, it's all in our mind. And when I say it's all in our mind, it's not like, oh, it's an illusion. It's our mind is what is determining how we continue to operate. It is by questioning what our mind is telling us, because we are more than our minds, that we get to make changes and choices. So all of this is saying, please reflect. Look at your mind. Don't assume because your mind tells you it's not safe, or that it isn't okay, or that you will be judged. Check in. Is that really true? What are you afraid of? Can you let go of that? Can you forgive yourself? Can you just move this towards a journey of self-awareness and not be concerned about whether or not you are going to need to ask for forgiveness if you change some of the ways you do things? What are you resisting? And I feel as though I need to pull one more card. No, okay, 2 more cards coming I'm getting. All right. So they're asking you to look at discipline in a new way. Thank you. Okay, discipline. This involves setting guidelines for yourself and choosing to follow through with them. It sets your task as a priority, knowing that the payoff comes from commitment to the process and not necessarily the outcome. Yes, Virgo can be very outcome oriented. All Taurus can. So it's asking you to appreciate the process, the movement, as opposed to the landing. Okay, which Earth likes landing. Decide how you'd like to apply this concept of discipline to your action card or any other task you'd like to use in this process. So discipline it's interesting because in the other deck, it really describes discipline as something that is not rules that must be followed to keep you in line, which tends to be the earthy way of doing things. It is about, it's pleasure. It's about setting certain things in place for yourself to increase your pleasure, to increase your well-being. So you look at it not as any kind of punishment or any kind of rule that is being enforced on you. It's something that you are willingly doing to increase your sense of well-being. So I got to read you pleasure, but I'm going to let you take a screenshot of it because I think this is super important for you guys. Pleasure. Pleasure is often considered to be frivolous. We've been taught both overtly and covertly that it will lead us to base desires away from God and goodness, that it will make us selfish, greedy, lazy, and lustful. Everything a Virgo is not and does not want to be. Have you ever noticed when you work with heartfelt pleasure how much more productive you are? That when pleasure reaches your heart in any kind of loving way, you're kinder in your loving, more generous, and more easily satisfied? Heartfelt pleasure can guide us to acts of kindness and gratitude and open us to greater depths of nourishing desires, compassion, and grace. It is telling you it is time to start understanding the nature of discipline as something to increase your pleasure. That pleasure is something that can increase your sense of love, your sense of confidence, can take you out of fear. And it can certainly be a motivator to get out of it. Okay, so this is perfect. It's asking you to look at your mind and address your resistance and your fear. And this is the last card they're ending with, cognitive distortions. Watch your vocabulary today. You're on the lookout for cognitive distortions. These are statements that are not factually accurate. Each time you notice one, correct it on the spot. Change it for a factually true statement. Example, I have nothing to wear. Example correction, I feel like I have nothing to wear, or I don't really want to wear anything I own right now. And notice how changing the statement changes your feelings and perspectives. It changes your choices. So let's go back to, I must do my books on Sunday, and therefore I cannot go to this wonderful picnic that I've been invited to. How about changing it to, I'm more comfortable doing it on Sunday, but is it worth me missing out on fun, or could I be almost as comfortable doing it on Saturday night or Monday? That's a cognitive distortion. No, I have to do my books on Sunday. No, I've got my routine. No, I can't change my routine. Well, why not? Can't. No. Won't. Understand it's a choice. Okay? My loves, I'm going to leave you with that. This to me, I'm really aware of how the progress for the Virgo readings have gone. For some reason, I'm getting clips of them right now. And I'm seeing seashore, I'm seeing the stairs. Anyway, I won't go on. I feel as though with this reading, what you're really being told here is you have the power to change it. It's in your mind. It's really looking at where you're apologizing for yourself, where you feel like you can't change, and where your fear is creating resistance. And that behind the resistance, you can use the way your mind thinks by looking at cognitive distortions, by setting pleasure as an honorable priority in your life, believing and trusting that you're going to actually work better and create more, be more productive in whatever you're doing, that you have the ability to do this, you can do this, and you're in the process of doing this. For some of you, again, this maybe you're already on the way to it, but it's saying this is the way you do it. This is the way you can move yourself forward by checking in with the way your mind is working, looking for the cognitive distortions, being willing to consider things being different, and allowing your mind and taking steps to further yourself towards that by keeping track of that. Try your best not to get stuck in your tracks, your tracked thinking. And realize that you're still going to maintain all of those great qualities of efficiency and being able to create things. It's not going to take you out of what your strong general qualities are. You're coming up with this stuff because now by doing this, you really literally are starting to be able to change the frequency and lift it up. You're not doing this production out of fear. You're not doing it out of being stuck. It's a choice now. You still have all of the wonderful characteristics that go along with the Virgo. You will just be applying them with a happier heart and therefore a higher frequency. Okay? I leave you with that, Virgos. I'll be back next week. I thank you for any likes, shares, subscribes, and comments, and have a great week. I'll stop now. Have a great week.